It's really strange, isn't it? Isn't it? It's like you see all these people. I see all these people talking about how it's Trump that made the ceasefire happen. I don't know. I just don't get how Dave Chappelle. Of course, Dave Chappelle just happens to be the guy. And and Dave Chappelle might have gotten himself canceled. I mean, he did say Palestine. Like his whole monologue, it was okay. And then he ended it with like 2 minutes of no jokes and just talked about Jimmy Carter being a great man and then said, Trump needs to do better and understand that there's a lot of people that are relying on him and counting on him, and whether it's the Palisades or it's Palestine. That's what he ended with. And you have to wonder, like, is Dave just doing what he needs to do to maintain his existence? He's as rich as you can be. He's as rich as it gets. At least as we're allowed to get. But I don't know, man. This whole ceasefire bullshit. I just wonder, like, oh, I wanted to read you guys this today. This was a really important thing. So, a friend of mine, I've talked about her before, and she just got diagnosed with cancer, colon cancer. But she's a white girl from Northville. Uh, you know, um, white girl from Northville who was cute. Was a good looking girl. I'm not really sure. I think she might have some mental issues, but I don't know. Yeah, I just said that. But she just got diagnosed with cancer, and she's a Trump supporter and a Jesus believer, and whatever. But she's at least was up until this point willing to sort of have the conversation, at least sort of check out, another narrative, another point of view. At least it seemed that. So then, I haven't heard from her in a few days. So yesterday I sent her something that said, hey, how's it going? And didn't hear from her until, no, actually I sent that on Friday. And then today at 8:12, she finally, like, I sent this at 11 a.m. on Friday, and today, or on Sunday, that's today. Is that today?
Monday. It's Monday, 21st.
Oh yeah, so she sent it yesterday, and then today I responded. I finally responded to her this morning. So she says, hey, sorry, and she's like, she's got terrible spelling, and it's just strange. It's just a strange thing. But she says, hey, I haven't got back to you been back to you, a little stressed with all the doctor's appointments and family nagging me, though my family and I love each other. Though my family and I love each other. Did you see the 90 hostages will be released from Israel? Like, this is what she says. Like, this is how ignorant she is, that the 90 hostages will be released from Israel. I get what she's saying, but still, the 90 hostages from Israel will be released. And she says, I guess Trump told the Arabs, release the prisoners or I will bomb you on day one. He had met with the J Leader 2 at Mar-a-Lago. So I said, wow, You believe whatever you're told. You don't know the narrative, so you fall for the narrative. But did any of them look like they've been hostages for over a year? This is an important part of this. Everybody talking about the hostages and whatnot. Have you seen anyone that looks like they've been held hostage for a year plus? For a year and like 4 months? October and November. For a year and 3 months? 4 months, really, because... Is that what it looks like? And I said, it looks like they've been hostages for over a year. Sick, emaciated, gaunt, pale. No, it's all bullshit. And it's sad that they have people dumb enough to believe it. It's embarrassing. She said, sounds like you need to go over there and check. You need to go over there yourself and check on it. It was on the news and fact checkers. She keeps bringing up the fact checkers.
Irrelevant.
I said, yeah. I said, LOL, yeah, that's the only way to know. So you believe what you're told when you like what they say, but when Joe says it, it's a lie, right? And then I sent her this video from today of, Jake Sullivan, I think it was, or maybe it was, I don't remember which one it was, but was giving a speech and, giving a press conference, and an old J reporter was grilling him about, about the killings and all that shit. And of course he got removed. And for me, it's an old J guy who the police were very nice with and whatnot. And basically he's just playing a role. He's just showing what happens when you speak out. But she said, why do you have so much anger about it with the Palestinians? Did they hold a special place in your heart for some reason? Maybe some hostages weren't released. Because again, this just shows what a piece of shit most of you are, right? Because so many of you think that I should, well, if you don't have any relation to the Palestinian situation, why would you care? Why do you care so much? I said, you don't know anything. She said, you have so much hate for Jays. And I said, proudly. She said, think what you want. I said, they hate you. She said, tons of people in the world, guy. I said, the sad part is, every time I try to show you something or invite you to the feed to talk about it, you ignore it. Just like you ignore the link video I just sent you. She said, the video won't pop up. Yeah, right. I said, go figure. She said, I don't have time to watch every video. I said, when you compare the two of us, who actually looks into all of this stuff and who just believes what they're told? Do you think I feel this way just because? She said, the people I talk to look into this stuff too. I said, no, they don't. And if you believe it from the start, you only look into what proves your nonsense. And if you're talking about clowns like Greg, good luck with that. I said, when Israel starts killing again, which is probably already happening, I hope you see it. She said, you're, Y-O-U-R, saying people don't look into it. How do you know? Both sides murdered. I said, because if they did, they would say the same things I am. Show me one video of Israelis being killed or taking damage. This is when it really gets good. She says, the initial start of the war. She said, I'm going, I'm going, Baba. I said, even if October 7th was real, it's not. Around 1100 is nothing. And that was in response to Israel killing 243 civilians by that point in just 2023. They have been murdering people for 75 years. But since you only follow this, since October 7th, you only know what they want you to know. She said, I've been following it. Besides, technically, the Muslims have attacked Israel more. Look up your history, she says. So I said, LOL, show me. She said, ever since Israel became a nation. I said, I read the history every day. How did Israel become a nation? I asked her. She said, I'm not going to fact check everything you can. Right there. She's the one that brought up the fact checkers. She's the one that's bringing this. And I say, well, what about like this part? What about that? I'm not going to do the fact checking. So I said, of course you're not. That would prove you wrong. You just like to say things the J media tells you to say. Looking it up would be learning too much. Don't say things like, since Israel became a nation, if you're not willing to learn the whole story. She said, I'm not going to go retain knowledge by reading. I don't need to fact check. She said, I'm also going to go while you are calling me a lie, Lier. You sound angry. I said, wow, you are being a liar, Liar. She said, think what you want, you sound nuts. I said, by the way, there's a lot of Christians being killed by Israel, but you won't look at those facts. Me and thousands of other people, but we must be nuts for condemning genocide. Wow. While you are creating a narrative about you but about you, I don't believe. I said, how many Israelis have been killed since October 7th? She said, I don't know. I don't need to fact check though. You're just making shit up. I said, so you just say nonsense. You just say nonsense then. Got it. Why would anyone want facts? LOL, I'm done. Typical white racist Northville nonsense. Good luck with your cancer. I'll be here fighting the J cancer that plagues us all. Hope you are much more successful than I will be. Remember, when the treatments the Jays tell you to take don't work, I'm here and willing to actually help, not make money off of you. Do you guys understand? Like, it's all just bullshit. It really is just bullshit. They are just like, it's insulting, and you get these Jessica dumbasses on here that don't, they don't see it. When I've been literally comparing the Trump administration to the Reagan administration the whole time. And if you look back at the Israeli hostage crisis, remember that big fucking deal, the hostage crisis that was in the 70s, and they were held for 366 days, and the day after Ronald Reagan took office, the hostages were released. Jimmy Carter just dies, and now the day after, or the day before Trump takes office, the hostages are released. You don't see them repeating the same fucking narrative? Yes, it didn't start on October 7th. It just me, or does Israel seem a little out of place? They're the worst. Fact checkers are history now. I mean, it's really sad.
Here's the fact checkers. What do they source to
Who are they?
Whether something is true or not?
Who the fuck are they? Who are they to begin with?
Who do they work for?
Arguing it with thick women. Oh, right, because she's sick, then that means her mind doesn't work, and we shouldn't treat her like a normal person, right?
That's pretty rude.
Yeah. Do you know how stupid you are? Like, this is that person that comes on here repeatedly trying to constantly find something because they can't argue the actual point. Like, if you wanted to argue that badly, you would think, man, I'm giving you more than enough. I'm talking about all kinds of things. I've given you more than enough to argue, but instead of making any reasonable points, you just continue to prove how stupid you are.
Oh my gosh. See, this is why I can't watch this.
Can't win arguing with a chatbot. You are right. Well, you can, because I'm always winning. You guys don't get it. Every time there's a conversation, every time there's a comment or anything that is against me, but not against what I'm saying, they're saying that what I'm saying is right. If they could debunk me, they would. So they're basically acknowledging with every fucking dumbass comment that I'm too smart. I'm right. I mean, this is I need to be reading the Israeli news this morning just to see what it says. I just don't want to. I feel like it's an assault. I feel like we're being assaulted. And I just hate this so fucking much. I don't understand how people can keep buying this shit. Oh God, I hate this so much. I don't even want to read it. How long do you think it's going to be before Israel starts attacking again? What guys, here, I'm 16 minutes in. I should have done this from the beginning. I'm making the prediction now, right? Within a few days, maybe weeks, but within a few days, I saw something today about 66 days or some shit. But I don't think it'll take that long. Within a few days, suddenly, the Palestinian Hamas that has been like the Palestinians have been being bombed for a year and 4 months, relentlessly, nonstop, day after day after day. If they were going to respond, if they were going to fight back, you'd think they probably would have by now. But what you're going to see is in a few days, in a few weeks, Israel is going to claim that Hamas attacked them again. And when this attack comes, it'll be Hamas that's breaking the ceasefire, and and they'll immediately resume, hitting targets that day. Everything it'll just happen like it was planned out. But watch. They're going to say that the Palestinians attacked them again, and now they have every right to fight back. And the thing is, this whole idea of releasing the hostages, well, when Israel starts its real true bombing campaign where they're just carpet bombing the whole place, they would have gotten some sort of flack, some sort of pushback, because it was like, well, how do you know you're not bombing hostages? Now, there won't be that speed bump in the way. They won't have to worry about bombing hostages. Because apparently, for the last year and a half, while being bombed to bejesus and getting literally no headway, no support, even whatever support is coming towards them, Israel was preventing it. The Hamas that said they were going to start killing hostages on live TV if Israel didn't stop bombing initially, kept all these people alive and are now returning them for no fucking reason. I give it 3 to 5 days. Yeah, it's coming, right. They're going to just wipe everything out. It's fucking scary. Oh, too smart. Yep, that's what it is, Julian. Apparently you're watching all the time. I love the comments that do that. I'm talking about a big picture situation, and these guys want to talk about me. Like I've pointed out time and time again, if I was beating my wife, if I smoked all of the meth and ate all the crack and drank all the alcohol and kicked my dog and beat my children and did all these things, there would still be a genocide happening. that would all be way more important than what I do. And yet these guys, you know, I'm more important to them than anything else. Comment got deleted. What comment? Your fellow J-Dogs. You are right. You are dogs. You are worse than dogs, but you are nothing but dogs, especially compared to us. You are just filthy, filthy, butt-sniffing animals. Can you imagine fantasizing like, he loves me? Can you imagine that? This is what they're telling themselves. They want me to love them. They want, like, this is so crazy. Why don't you know, I nothing you. You personally, I nothing you. You're nothing. You provide, I mean, I appreciate you because you provide a great example for me.
Tiny little.
Right. Tiny, ugly Jay.
How tiny he is.
Every single it'll happen over and over again.
Comes up to his shoulder, and I don't think he's all that tall.
If you're watching this, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all those things. If you give a shit about this whole ceasefire, you know, this is a scary fucking day here. This is a scary day. So, you know what I wanted to do today? I've been talking about it a lot. I just can't do this. As ceasefire takes hold, Hamas returns 3 Israeli hostages and Israel frees 90 Palestinians. They have thousands and thousands of Palestinians being held hostage, and no one talks about it. Abraham Accords. Let's look up the Abraham Accords. Let's see what the Abraham Accords say. The Abraham Accords are bilateral agreements on Arab-Israeli normalization. Oh, Arab-Israeli normalization. I can actually read what this is supposed to be now. Since the 70s, there has been a parallel effort made to find terms upon which peace can be agreed to in the Arab-Israeli conflict and also specifically the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Gee, I wonder who's in charge of the words here. I wonder who's writing this narrative. Because it's not like it's crazy, like that dumb girl said, you know. The Arabs attacked the Israel, blah blah. Can anybody show me an example of that? Can anybody show me an example of Israel being literally attacked and there being any sort of provable success? Like, I know you could say October, but no Israelis died on October 7th. No Israelis were taken hostage.
No, the hostages. There were hostages. There were lots of them.
You know, the one guy said that reporter that was kicked out of the press conference, he brought up the Hannibal Doctrine. Isn't that strange? I talk about the Hannibal Doctrine. For a guy that doesn't know what he's fucking talking about, it's weird to hear those guys using the same shit I'm making up, don't you think? But think about, like, the Hannibal Doctrine, which is that legislation that Israel has that says if one of them is taken hostage, then kill them. Try to have a headshot because we can't risk them being used as, you know, as a bargaining chip against Israel. So if an Israeli is taken hostage, try to give them the most painless death possible and shoot for the head. Over the years, numerous Arab League countries have signed peace and normalization treaties with Israel. Isn't that weird? All of these countries keep signing with Israel, and yet Israel is always in danger. I'm trying to figure out what it says here. I'm surprised because I've been looking for this stuff for a while. Despite the failure to implement the Israeli-Lebanese peace accords in 1983, more treaties with Israel-Palestinian peace with the Israeli-Palestinian peace process, 1991 to present, the Israel-Jordan peace treaty, 1994. Again, think about this. How many other things do you hear about this? Are there Jordan, Egyptian peace treaties? Are there all these different peace treaties that are these national news situations that the U.S. then gets behind and all that? Do you hear about everybody needing to sign peace treaties with one country? Do you ever hear about that? Why do you think that is? Why do you think so many countries have to sign allegiances to this one country? I'm not convinced nothing happened on October 7th. You shouldn't be convinced nothing happened. Something. Were a bunch of Israelis killed? No. And more than anything, why don't you, instead of disproving my narrative, prove the narrative they tell you. Prove that Israelis were killed on that day. Prove it. Show yourself. I know, like we all know, it's been proven that they lied. They lied and said that some 42 babies were found decapitated and murdered. They flat out lied about that story, and that went worldwide. And then when the retraction was made, nobody talked about it. It disappeared. They can never live in harmony because of the Jays. It's because of the Jays. If the Jays were willing to leave people alone and didn't require slaves to live their lives, then the other people wouldn't have such an issue with them. Right? Like it's insane. And think about this. It happens to be MLK Day, so now they're taking over that, just like they did with September 11th, where they made the Queen die, even though she had been disappeared for quite some time and nobody really knows when she died. But they announced her death on September 10th. So now every year before, instead of talking about 9/11, we'll talk about the Queen. Even though the Jays gave us MLK, they still hate him. It's it's just disgusting. It really is disgusting. Why do you care about Palestine? I don't. When was the last time you heard me say free Palestine? I don't. I mean, I care about those people, but the idea of Palestine itself, the whole idea of free Palestine, I don't even know what the fuck that means. How could you free Palestine? What would be a free Palestine? Would it be an American, an American implanted dictator of some sort? Would it be some sort of bullshit monarchy? Would it be, pre-2006 Palestine? Would it be pre-1967 Palestine? Would it be pre-1948 Palestine? Would it be pre-1918? When's free Palestine? What are we even talking about? See, my proud argument is to end. It used to be Israel, but Israel's just the invisible house. It's just an invisible set of ideas. Whereas the real problem is the Jays. So it's not free Palestine, it's end the Jays. Yep, blah, 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 blah. They need to be domesticated. Yeah, sure they do. When you look at the most supposedly poked population in the world, especially during Novid, it was the Jays, who also happened to be the most affected by sickness per capita, of course, per capita in both arguments. It's all just bullshit. It really is. It's like when measles broke out in those 2 J communities in Pennsylvania, and 800 plus out of the 1,200 cases came out of these 2 J neighborhoods. Trump wasn't like, we need to shut down travel between here and Israel, and it's a J. You know, they never said anything about it. They told us we all needed to vaccinate against measles, something that most of our parents and grandparents had measles and German measles, and everybody was fine. You know, you might need a week off of work. But understand what's going on here. So let's let's get back to this. And again, if I'm wrong about this stuff, all I'm doing is reading Wikipedia and shit. I'm reading what they want. Oh, look, Arab-Israeli normalization it happens to be another one of those pages that's totally locked up. And you can't actually... Accords normalizing relations between Israel, United Arab Emirates, and Israel and Bahrain. Gee, I always bring these things up. That's so weird. The Israel-Sudan Normalization Agreement 2020 and the Israel-Morocco Normalization Agreement 2020. You know when all those things happened? All those things happened beforehand, before the switch took place. But shh, don't worry about that. That had nothing. That wasn't Trump. Trump wasn't, like, his main whole thing isn't about foreign bullshit. It's about America first, right? All right, well, I guess we just have to go back here then, because that's all you're going to get. You're not going to get any sort of explanation. There's not going to be normalization deals for anyone else. Nobody else gets normalization deals. Only Israel does. So we'll look these terms up. The Abraham Accords are bilateral agreements on Arab-Israeli normalization signed between Israel and the United Arab Emirates and between Israel and Bahrain on September 15th, 2020. Mediated by the United States. Why? And it's not just mediated, but why? Why would we give half a shit? Why are we even involved a little bit? And by mediated, again, they mean paid for. Paid for, but they're not, I guess they're not saying that right off the bat. I think they're usually meaning the two-state solution. Why do you think that way? Based on what? I mean, the problem with all of this is, no offense to you, dude, but I know you don't know this stuff. I know you haven't looked into this stuff. And you're just sort of winging it off of maybe some bits and pieces you've heard. But this is the truth. This is what they want you to know, right? So let's figure it out. Mediated by the United States, the announcement of August 13th, 2020 concerned Israel and the Emirates before the subsequent announcement of an agreement between Israel and Bahrain on September 11th, 2020. Oh, yeah, there's nothing weird about that at all. Trust me, there's nothing weird about that at all. September 11th, 2020, they're negotiating deals between Israel and Bahrain. And again, by deals, well, let's just find out. Let's see how much they go into it. On September 15th, 2020, 4 days later, the signing of the agreements was hosted by U.S. President douchebag Trump on the Truman balcony of the White House amid elaborate staging intended to evoke the signings of historical formal peace treaties in prior administrations. Admitting that they're trying to manipulate you into thinking something. This is fucking crazy. You know what? We're going to reset. Let's reset and just see what happens. Pedophiles kill yourself.